All right, my friend. Good morning and welcome. We also have Larry on the phone, shockingly. So I'd like to start the show. First of all, happy Victoria Day for Canadian listeners. I know it's kind of a holiday, but whatever, it is what it is. But we also have two salespeople that I've known for a while. George, I've known longer, but Andrea does some crazy videos as well. So, Andrea, maybe you could talk a little bit about you and why video, and more importantly, what that's meant for sales, because the show is about salespeople. So, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Andrea Anderson. I am based out of Brentwood, Tennessee. It's just right south of Nashville. At Andrew's Cadillac, we're a small family-owned dealership. There's about 6 of us salespeople. We do about 100-ish cars a month. I'm consistently 20 plus. And have been for a long time. But no, I started about a year ago. I already knew that I was great at my job and really good, but I wanted more people to know about it. So I went to social media. I have a son who's 7 and wanted to have a little bit more flexibility with my schedule. So I leave around 5 every day, don't work Saturdays, and still consistently kick butt every month. So it's been great.
Rock and roll. And the other salesman on the call is the one and the only George Sairoglou. George, we've had him on the show multiple times. So, George, tell us a little bit about you and obviously StouffvilleToyota and what videos meant for you. I mean, you've been doing videos a while.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. The auto industry and the car business to me is very near and dear to my heart. I take it with ultimate passion. I absolutely love what I do. I've been doing this for a very long time. I am working at StouffvilleToyota, so it's a small town just outside of Toronto. Consistently, we're doing, roughly around 100 cars every month, sometimes even 150, depending on the month. And just being out in the community and spreading the joy and creating excitement and selling Toyotas, bringing it all into one is just something I love doing. And having great feedback is key, good, bad, or indifferent, and just having the opportunity to work with a great team, a great community, and a great product, and bringing passion day in, day out consistently is so important.
Thanks very much. And George, just so you know, does all his videos in one take. So if you're worried about editing, he doesn't do that. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's kind of interesting. So if you're looking to do video and you don't like editing, George is the guy to do that. Go ahead, Travis. Tell us a little bit more about what you do. And what do you think? I know we talked a little bit before the show, Jonathan, yourself, about sales and attitude, but what do you think is the secret to success in sales in 2026?
Well, hey, I'm Travis Miller from Rich Dealers. We help dealerships attract customers through preference rather than price. And honestly, what's changing now, look, I'm always a contrarian. So what I think is changing is something different than what everybody else is, thinks is changing. And I think that what the industry needs is more human touch instead of less inhuman touch, which, the whole world is moving toward all of, automation and AI. And what I think that we need to do to really stand out and succeed and to build preference for one dealership over another, hopefully for your own dealership, is to make your dealership more about the human connection, both internally and in between the organization and its customers, to really truly see car buyers as people. And I think the industry has forgotten about that a lot. So I'll say more about that.
Fantastic. Jonathan, I hear congratulations are in order. You jumped into the dealership game. Obviously, you have a background in sales. What's your opinion on sales in 2026? But more importantly, what's it like to move from sales to being a dealer? What do you think?
I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, so I have a lot like Travis' perspective that's based on the relational aspect of what we do. I think that as a lot of dealerships lean in towards technology tools and websites and widgets, that behind all that is still a human. And until robots are buying cars from robots, we still have human beings involved in the process, which means it's an emotional, experiential event. And that means that the responsibility of the salesperson today, more than ever before, is to out-experience the competition towards creating ratings and advocates, people that truly want to buy from you and trust you and refer to you. I believe that salespeople who follow that relational model will one day build a business that will work as hard for them as they worked for it building it. And that's the mission that I'm on. I'm on a mission to save the world one salesperson at a time. I bought my store in June of last year as now a franchise dealer. I'm able to apply the very same principles. I've spent 20-something years traveling the world. My perspective comes from being in 3,000 dealerships across 9 countries and seeing the patterns of what makes successful salespeople work. I'm also the co-founder of the Pinnacle Society, which is an organization of high-producing, top-performing salespeople across the country. And so working directly with them, the pattern still emerges that the highest producing salespeople are relational. They build a book of business that they nurture and take care of. They build a reputation in their marketplace where they can be trusted, and then they become the sought-out preference, as Travis said. And so that's what separates them. And I think that's going to continue to work in 2026 as the market differentiates itself from the transactional automated approach versus the relational customer approach, which is what my philosophy is based on.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Jason Scott, you are muted. There you go. Tell us more about you. And
they just stole my thunder. Yeah, gosh, I don't want to go after all those guys. They are amazing. My name is Jason Scott. I am an automotive influencer, a speaker, founder of a variety of different companies that are all around automotive. I could not agree with the panel more. They're talking what everyone truly wants. They want a real relationship. Maybe the difference is that, I go in there and show salespeople how to do it. I show them the little tricks and tips and all that cool stuff to show them how to do it. We'll speak more on that, but wow, what a great panel you got today.
Fantastic. Larry, I know you're a pretty boring individual and you train salespeople, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about what makes salespeople successful in 2026 as you've traveled all over the place, including the U.S. and Canada, across the country. I mean, what do you train new salespeople on? Like, how do they stand out?
Well, I just interviewed about 50 people in Virginia for a big dealer group, and at least 1/3 of them said, why are you interested in this? Oh, I love cars. I said, that's a shame because we don't sell cars to cars. We sell cars to people. If we're not interested in the people that are in front of us, if we don't realize that they're not annoyances, that they're annuities, how much they can bring in and how much fun we can have with them, we're lost. It's just really simple. I don't think I think they've exacerbated the core principles. Everybody thinks it's about being a good talker. It's about being a good listener. And in a society where nobody's listening to anybody, if you can actively listen, if you can make it clear that your opinion is important to me, that you're important to me, it's good. And you guys will laugh at this. Here's how old school I am. It's like the dinosaur on the program. I carry 3x5 cards to this day. When I was a salesman, I would always say, here's my card. Can I ask your name? Can I write it down? I'm terrible with names. Because I don't care how good you are with names, and I'm pretty good every once in a while. You get a brain cramp. So it's, and by giving people the card up front, they can call you by name. I just had 21 people go out and mystery shop saying their sister just had a baby. Not one got a card. Either they had asked for it or they got it at the end. The hell is the purpose of giving it to them at the end? You want to call them by name and have them call you by name. If that's not elemental sales 101. So it's just being human. It's realizing how important each person is. But remember, and you all know this, you're all smart. We're in an industry where all people talk about, it's not sex or sports, it's that there's no business. And then when a car pulls up, 3 idiots go, he's not a buyer, send the rookie out.
Fantastic. Peter, what do you think is successful in sales in 2026?
Well, first, I just want to thank all of our guests today. We've got probably one of the best panels we've seen in a while. I mean, we've got some major names out there. I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking the time and Andrea coming and spending time with us. And it's funny, I've heard through all of you all were talking a little bit about a common theme, and that was about video. So I'm really excited about this because I believe video is going to play a huge part. I always have loved video. I love testimonials, but I think video is a great part. So I'm excited to hear what you all have to say. I'm sure the dealers are just, chomping at the bits to hear, what your thoughts are, because quite frankly, you guys are the best of the best. So thank you so very much for being on the show.
Fantastic. So I'm curious, obviously we talked a little bit about experiences, and we talked about experiences and how experiences matter. And I know Andrew's the only lady on the panel, so ladies first in this case. So what do you think on experiences? I mean, you obviously create them online. Do people say, hey, the reason I came in was because of the experience I saw online, or what do you think? You're muted.
You're going to have to repeat the question. My phone overheated in the car.
No problem. So how do you create unique experiences online, and does that impact, the experiences in store and why people come talk to you? Like what does that, do for you?
Yes, absolutely. So when I first started, I of course know Cadillac, and there's not everyone is in the market for a Cadillac. So then I realized quickly that, I wanted to teach people how to negotiate or buy a car, just make it easier for them, because it has been such a daunting experience for people. So when I realized that I could help people with that, because it's something that I've been doing since 2012, that really changed it. And people just saw me as a person helping, because that's really what I want to do. And so they get to see my personality and like my teaching videos, my skits. So they kind of feel like they already know me before they walk in. So it works out great.
And in terms of skits, like I've seen a few you've done, does that track better than just sort of a video about a car? Because I see a lot of people doing videos about cars. I mean, what do you?
Yeah.
What do you think
So I mean, I found that like you can educate people and also entertain people. It's kind of the best of both worlds. And it's just something I've figured out through time is like, you can talk about like a car feature all day long, but if you're able to entertain and also talk about it, it really engages the customer, and also it's fun.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's actually a Toyota dealer, I believe, in the US, and she's the dealer, and she does just features every day of Toyotas. And there's actually a gentleman, if you're not familiar, he did a controversial video on backups on Toyotas with mirrors, like the mirrors point down, I guess, on some models. And then he got all kinds of comments saying, that's not on my Toyota. It was kind of interesting. But George, I mean, you do experiences more than cars, I think. What's your thought on experiences in video in car sales?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm listening to everybody's comments, and from Andrea to Larry to Jonathan, Travis, I think the person-to-person interaction, even before they even come to the dealership or watching an exciting video, it goes way more than we even truly understand. And having people comment and say, you got to go see this guy. He's all about excitement. He's all about the people, getting the actual customer involved during, even after the sale. People coming to me even in service and commenting on their experience and promoting. So 90 to 95% of my business is referral and repeats. And, just got to keep that excitement and that ball rolling. And it's truly incredible.
Thanks for that, George. So Travis, I mean, obviously with Rich Dealers, you guys do things a little differently. I mean, how much on the marketing or attraction side do you think the experiences are? Like, what do you think there?
Well, I think it's the whole thing. What everyone's got wrong, I think, is that, everybody thinks this business is about cars. We call it the car business, right? The problem with that, though, is that every dealership has cars. And so cars don't make any dealership different than any other dealership. I mean, sure, there's some degree of variance about, maybe price is slightly different, condition is slightly different. But, for the most part, the cars come from the same auctions, from the same factories. So the cars don't make us different. So something else has to make us different. And, I've spoken to thousands of dealers over the years, and there's one question I ask every person, which is, why should somebody choose your store over any other option? And I got to tell you, 99% of the time, there's no good answer to that question. And I don't mean that as like a trap. I'm genuinely curious about that, and people can't answer that question. And so if a dealer can't answer that question for themselves and for their own store, then what's the likelihood that a customer is going to be able to answer that question? Why should I choose this dealership over any other option? They can't. And so if the customer can't answer that question, then all that remains is inventory and price, which are the default base level comparison factors. And problem is that most, especially smaller dealerships, really aren't poised to win that competition. So back to your original question, experiences. I would say that experiences are one of the items on the short list of things that a dealership could do to actually differentiate itself, to make customers choose this dealership over another dealership. The experience is one of the things that they can control that could be different at their store versus other stores, bottom line.
Thanks for that. So Jonathan, I know when you bought a dealer, you were talking about experiences and talking about some examples where you drew from. I mean, how has that changed the way, you guys run a store versus, your normal run-of-the-mill sort of price-driven store? What do you think?
Well, I believe it started for me with a core philosophical approach, which is that I took the market and I separated it into two funnels. I looked at the transactional market, which is the people that will respond to a price, a product, promotion, or a payment. That's the transactional model, and that's how you have to track them. Then the relational model, and they're there because of a reputation, a referral, and a relationship with an individual. And so my model was the traditional dealer will spend upwards of $500 per sale to just acquire a customer into their model. And then they may have delegated $50 a sale for retention. I said, I'm going to flip the paradigm. I'm going to spend $50 to attract a customer, and I'm going to spend $500 to retain them. So our philosophy is much more on, again, the relationship experience side. Everything that we do from the moment the customer comes in. At our dealership, our greeting is a hug. We tell people right up front, we're huggers here, and I can shake your hand or I can give you a hug. And that's our greeting. And again, 80% plus of people, there's one of the parties that will say, I'm a hugger too. And within 7 seconds of meeting a total stranger on the lot, we're hugging. And we let them know from the beginning that this is a relational business that we're in, and that we're here to serve them and solve a problem. We also tell people, even if the vehicle you want is not a vehicle that we personally represent or personally have, we will help and support you buying that car. In the last month, I helped 3 people buy a new Toyota, a new Audi, and a new Lexus in Atlanta. We don't sell Audis, Toyotas, or Lexus, but that doesn't mean I can't help them buy one. And because of that, the referrals and reputation we've established, it's grown exponentially. So in our community in Cherokee County of Georgia, there's a Facebook group that we don't manage and we don't have any ownership of, but it was created by an insurance agent, and it's got 150,000 members in this Cherokee Connect group. Recently, someone posted and said, I'm looking for a car, where do I go? 80% of the comments were go to Cherokee Mitsubishi. And this is a dealership that hasn't even existed a year, and we're dwarfing our stores that are in our market for years. Somebody recently posted, I'm looking for a new Chevy Tahoe. There were so many comments saying go to Cherokee Mitsubishi. Somebody then commented a sub-comment and said, do you guys realize Mitsubishi doesn't make Tahoes? Why is everyone tagging a Mitsubishi store for a Tahoe? And in the comments below that, people said, it doesn't matter what you want to buy. They will help you buy it. Go to Cherokee Mitsubishi. So when we say we're about the customer experience, we live it, we breathe it, it is who we are. We're community driven from everything we do.
That's great. I mean, when I worked at an auto mall, it was always very funny to me that some of the salesmen I worked with, I happened to work at a Honda store, they're always upset when people bought something else. I said, listen, man, if you need help buying that, I'm happy to help you. You probably know other people that need vehicles. Like, I don't sell it. That's fine. I lost that battle, but I would follow up people that didn't buy my car the same I followed up with people who did. And I would end up getting repeat business from it, whether it be service or elsewhere, because the other guy, the people who sold it to him didn't even call him. Like it was scary to me that people didn't do that. Thanks for that. And your Pinnacle Society of Salespeople, how do people find out about that if they're in sales?
Yeah, specifically if you're in sales, you have to be in first, second, or third place at your dealership to apply to join the Pinnacle Society. It's an exclusive membership, exclusively for top 1, 2, or 3. We have many members in our society who join. They're the number 1 at their store, and maybe at their store they're only selling 17 cars a month, but they are number 1 or number 2 or 3 at that volume. They can join at that volume. We help them, show them the blueprint, the systems to generate opportunities, and the appropriate work ethic so you don't burn out, so that you can build your book of business. And we have many members who went joined us at 20 cars and are now at 40 or 50. Some of our members sell 30 cars a month and only work 3 days a week. And that's because of systems that we teach them, because operational success is about duplication of systems. It's about understanding how to build the system and then how to replicate the system. And that's the breakdown. So the Pinnacle Society, you can just go to pinnaclesociety.com to learn more about how that works. And then again, we actually have tomorrow night is one of our live coaching calls for the Pinnacle Society. So if anyone's watching this right now and would like to be a guest on tomorrow night's show, please find me on social media and hit me with a DM. I will allow you to have the opportunity to join us as a guest. As long as you're a top performing salesperson and you'd like to learn from the other top performers, please come as a guest. If you're watching the show live and you'd like to be on tomorrow night's call, it happens at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night.
Thanks very much. Larry, I think you had a comment. Shocking.
Me?
Yeah.
I think for once I didn't say anything. But I will say this. Commenting, you said you do all your videos in one take. I've been doing Larry talks now for over a year. Same thing, one take. If you look artificial, if you look too rehearsed, and if your video is too long, you're killing yourself. I don't care how smart the people are, their attention spans are shorter than what people had in the past. So it's got to be short, it's got to be real. And it's good once in a while not to talk about selling anything, just to say who you are and what you do and get people to smile a little bit. People are a little stressed out these days. Just getting a smile on their face is a pretty important component of being happy and being a good salesperson, or just a good person, period.
Thanks for that. Jason, so what do you think on the experience side of things?
You know, back in the day when I owned my stores, we had something in the BDC on the wall. So every time you walked out, you saw this on the wall. And it was basically a big, circle with a cross through it. And it said, hey, comma, parentheses, first name, not allowed at this dealership. In other words, the templates are not allowed. And if you do them, you're going to be kicked out. And we would literally kick them out. If they were just doing the templates, hey, first name, it is not allowed. You need to come up with personalized ways to engage. The dealership doesn't sell the cars. The salesperson does, the relationships do, and that's what they need to focus on. And if they started focusing on that and went an entire month without ever using a hey first name template, let's see what kind of results they get.
Interesting. Thanks for that. Peter.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Ian, can I jump in here? I wanted to comment on, kind of tie in really to what everybody's saying, but specifically what Jonathan was saying. We've been saying for years to stop selling cars and to start selling solutions. Okay. And in fact, we wrote a book several years ago. It's on Amazon called The Last Up. And it's actually a fiction book. It's a story, and I think it's a good book. It's an enjoyable read, and it's got a great plot, but it's about a car salesman who finds himself in a very interesting situation where he's struggling to succeed, struggling to make sales. And actually it involves time travel, and he gets to travel back to a dealership in the past and understand and learn from how they were selling cars in the past. And what he learned in the process is that the word up that we've come to define, meaning I guess like our up at bat, like it's your chance to take a swing, right? He learned to redefine the word up as unidentified problem. And basically every person that we encounter in the dealership has some kind of problem. And I mean, everybody here knows what those problems look like, but if you take a person and say, no, this person doesn't have a problem. If you chat with them as a human for a couple of minutes, you'll probably find out that they do have some kind of issue they're trying to overcome, even if that problem is just a form of anxiety or they just can't find what they're looking for. And so if you can take a few minutes to really just identify the problem, the challenge that they're trying to solve, what they're trying to accomplish, and regardless, divorce yourself from the outcome of the sale and just focus on helping them accomplish what they're trying to accomplish, then all of the abundance that you can imagine will come to you. Exactly as Jonathan was just describing. We don't need to worry about selling cars. We just need to worry about solving problems, and everything else will take care of itself, honestly.
100%.
Travis and I are working on a sequel to his book. The guy goes back in time. He buys Microsoft stock, and the next chapter he's in Tahiti getting with a girl in a bikini. Hey, it's worth a shot, Travis.
Hey, special guest author, Larry Feldman. It's amazing.
Well, it's funny. I trained a guy about 16 years ago who sold cars part-time. He was 86 years old at the time, sold cars 3 days a week. And I asked him, I said, what was it like back when you started selling cars? What was different? He says, well, the closing ratio was about the same. There was just less choices. He said it was the same scenario, even though there was only at the time 3 or 4 options in terms of brands. But he said that the thing that was interesting about him is he was still learning at 86. And I said to him, I said, okay, like, why do you do this? He goes, well, I like to keep myself entertained, and sitting at home watching bad television is not really my lifestyle. And I was kind of like laughing because he was picking up stuff quicker than some of the people that were maybe 1/3 his age trying to learn it. So it was really interesting. But if the perception is that it was easier to sell cars from fresh ups to pick on what you were saying 50 years ago than it is today. And the reality is that the ratios haven't changed much. There's just more places they can go. So you have to send out more today than you did then, because there's actually more choice in terms of dealerships, not just brands. So I agree with that 100%. So from an outside of the box tip, because that's clearly what you need to be doing, not only experiences, but you need to be thinking outside the box. What have you found has worked from an outside of the box philosophy to selling more vehicles? I know, Andrew, you were talking a little bit about how Cadillac may not be everyone's brand. What have you found that is an outside of the box tip that you can share that helps you sell more vehicles, be they Cadillacs or something else?
Yeah, for sure. So what I've noticed is, of course, I'm getting new customers that recognize my face in the community, but also, through my videos. But my previous customers are people that have been in here, maybe that I didn't sell or I have sold.
Yeah.
Basically, my videos are my follow-up. Like, maybe I haven't talked to Mrs. Jones, who I sold a car 2 years ago, but she sees a video and is like, oh my gosh, Andrea's still at the dealership. Or, hey, one of my friends was just talking about a car. So I get it now to where, like, my previous customers are people that I had a lady that I talked to last summer, and we just didn't have the car she wanted. I posted a video about a 2016 Escalade I just traded. It's the cleanest thing I've ever. It was a 2-minute video, no edits, like real quick. Like, hey, I'll let you know the price at the end of the vehicle or at the end of the video. She reached out to me and was like, hey, I met you last summer. Like, that's the car I want. So I sold a car because of someone I hadn't followed up with, and it was just, I popped up in their feed or whatever it is. So that's been probably like my biggest out of the box thing. I also when I'm communicating with people, I've just started creating videos of me on the lot being like, hey, this is what you were looking at, or they haven't responded to me. I just send them a message of a video. I don't send a text because everyone does that. So it's been going great.
Fantastic.
Hey, Ian,
yeah.
We just got a question in from a dealer in Baltimore.
Okay.
And it was for Andrea, and it's one of the was they're asking, when you're talking about you're sending out a video, doing a video, how are you sending out the video? And they're asking, are you posting these videos on YouTube? So how are you're talking about that, and I see what they're saying, but how are you sending out these videos? You're talking about different types of videos, but also the question is, are you posting these videos on YouTube?
Yeah. So I post every video the same: TikTok, Instagram, which then feeds into Facebook. And then I go and copy, and a lot of times I'll post them on LinkedIn, and then I'll go to YouTube next. So I'm posting everywhere.
Are you manually doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
George, I know you don't do any videos. What have you found works outside of the box?
Being a concierge, I call myself like a personal concierge. And that means from everything, I even call myself the godfather of the vehicle. So it don't matter if you got a stone chip on the windshield, or you got an issue with a scraped bumper, or winter tires, putting them on and off twice a year. I am your personal one-to-one concierge. I happily go to people's houses, swap my own personal car, bring in their car, have them come in with their car. It's something I take to heart. And again, the amount of repeat and referral business because of those little simple things, I can't even stress enough how important it is, and going that extra mile. And kind of what Travis had talked about, and Larry, but if you got a problem, which most people do, it's no problem. You got a problem, no problem. I got you. I am the godfather. I will make it happen.
Fantastic. Jonathan, I mean, obviously you're thinking outside the box from the start of the sale. What else during your process is different that you're thinking outside the box?
Well, there's a couple things that we do from a process perspective. One of the things that we do is we take the delivery itself, the vehicle delivery, and we make it a truly memorable experience. We stage the car right on the show floor. We literally roll out a red carpet. We've got multiple stages of bouquets of balloons around it. We have people manned with bells and whistles, and we have poppers. As soon as they come out of the finance office, the entire showroom erupts, and everyone who is physically present is invited to participate. Recently, we had 2 customers shopping for a car. We paused the shopping experience, handed them bells, and said, "Would you please participate in the celebration of this customer who's about to buy a car and take delivery?" And the customers now have their bells, and all the kids have bells, and when they walk out, it's a big, giant carnival explosion of noise and energy. When they come and receive the delivery of their vehicle, which is right off the show floor, like I said, many people begin to cry. They're caught off guard by it. Some people literally don't even recognize it's their car. They're so stunned by the experience. Then we also then hand them a gift bag of swag that they receive right there on the spot. There's about $100 worth of swag that we give people at delivery. We do an Easter egg hunt inside the car, scattered throughout the entire car, are personalized messages, including, for example, inside the gas cap door, there's a $2 bill wrapped around the business card of the salesperson that says just a couple bucks to get you on the way. Underneath the driver's side floor mat is another custom card that says, if you found this, you're cleaning your car for your first time, please bring it by, let's get caught up with a cup of coffee and I'll wash your car. Where the spare tire is, there's a note that says, if you found this, you're on the side of the road, here's your roadside assistance number, here's my service manager's cell phone, here's my cell phone, here's your tire and wheel cell phone, or number tag. Would you please let us know that you're okay? These are hidden throughout the car. There's little notes and gifts and trinkets. And we get what we call, it's called the never-ending delivery. The idea is to create an experience that has a residual memory attached to it. We have people who literally now, 6 months after purchase, are still finding stuff in their car, posting on social media and tagging us. So what I would say is your first impression and your last impression. If you're going to master anything, master those 2, because when you do that right, it covers a lot of sins.
I love it. I love it. Interesting. Jason, what do you think? That's really interesting.
That is super cool. I love that experience, and that is truly setting it apart.
Yeah.
To me, it is all about those personal touches. And, I've been saying this for a long time, but I don't sell cars. I run a database. And what I mean by that is there's nuggets throughout that database that make it personal. If I can follow up with a customer 5 years later and still say the name of his wife, or that his kids are playing soccer, or anything else like that, those are the moments of truth that really say, I care about you. And that's what I'm always trying to do. I will add things to the CRM and make sure that the spouse's name is in there, the kids' names are in there, their network, what they do for a living, their hobbies, everything else like that. Because when I follow up with a video 2 years later and I say, hey, how's Jordan doing? That's the name of my wife, by the way. How's Jordan doing? I'm like, man, this salesperson really cares. And it really stands out to me. So again, I don't sell cars. I manage a database, and that is the gold mine right there.
Fantastic. I know, Larry, you never talk about annuities with car salespeople. And I remember my goal when I sold cars 26 years ago was always to not have to deal with anyone walking in, because I wanted to generate my own business. What's your opinion on, what Jason said, but more importantly, thinking outside the box? Like, what do you think?
I think everybody will agree with me that to make people more successful, we have to adjust their mindset. We have to change a little bit about the way they think, and the perceptions that we have as salespeople. It scares me. I mean, it didn't hurt me because I was successful enough to buy the dealership I worked at, but I just couldn't believe how dumb they were, and that the attitude with a lot of customers was, and they're not that important. It's not my money to get them in. It's the owner's. One of the things I try to convince everybody is adjust your mindset and act like it's an average about $450. Act like it's your money, and stop blowing people off. And the other one, you're all going to laugh at this because it just makes sense. Why would you ever go to the sales desk and say you don't have anything? I don't care if the guy tells you he's going to jail in the morning. Always tell your manager, with your help, I might have something. I never met a sales manager without an ego. They love to get up out of their chair and go, let me show you how to close this deal. Just slightly adjusting the way we approach customers. You know, we all say the same thing. You're running your business within somebody else's with no debt service. Well, if we can convince them it really is their business and that the cost is theirs, I mean, think about how much business we lose. Think about the amount of the lack of retention and service, particularly after the warranty period. Think about the people that walk into dealerships and somebody says, welcome to, were you ever here before? Yeah, I bought a car from you. From who? I don't know. I haven't heard from the guy in 3 years. I mean, to me, the whole concept, and I've been a dealer and a salesman and a vendor, the whole concept of CSI is a joke. Why should you have to remind salespeople that if they don't take care of their customers, they won't come back? So I think it's just readjusting people's minds and making them understand that the money's coming out of your pocket instead of the dealer's, how important each customer is, and just valuing them a little bit differently. You all got experience. You still, and Jonathan and the guys that travel around and Travis, I still see dealerships that don't make every salesperson go back to service with the simple speech. These are the nice folks that are going to work on your car. And by the way, our oil changes and tires are the same as outside, but you never void your warranty because we're an authorized dealer and we use factory parts. What would that mean in the long term, not only to our future, but to the dealership's future?
Thanks for that. Travis, what do you think on outside of the box?
You know, something that we've been doing with great success for dealers, not salespeople, but because in a lot of cases, our recommendation is for the dealers themselves to be the personality of the dealership, because they're permanently with the dealership. They're not going to move to another store. But also a lot of the dealers that we work with they can't really see themselves making videos. We could debate whether they should or shouldn't and all of that. But at the end of the day, a lot of times they just can't see themselves doing it. They don't want to take the time. They don't want to get the equipment. So what we've been doing is producing animated 3D avatars of the dealers themselves, and then making videos not about cars, but about problems and about the personality of the dealer and the dealership, and conveying that message through animated avatars on social media platforms. And that's been getting great results and costs very, very little to do. So
fantastic.
Outside the box.
So obviously it's not just about short-term success, it's about long-term success. So in addition to retaining your customers, obviously you learn over time. What have you learned over time? George has been probably the longest on the panel for selling cars. What have you learned over time that you do differently today than you did when you started? What was it, like 5 minutes ago or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I look back at generational sales, I can tell you within families, multiple families, I have grandparents, parents. Now the kids are getting involved. And the kids that are buying cars were maybe in their mother's tummy when they were buying a car before, or when they were growing up, and they'd want to bring in the kids, and George would be there, giving them toys or bringing them to the playroom. And now these kids that are grown up and they're buying their cars. So, and then I say this time and time again, and if I had my choice, I'd rather sell that young 20-year-old, kid who's in university buying their first car, and seeing them come back every 6-7 years and sending me all their friends and family. And with the power of social media and having them post their new vehicle and having all their friends coming back and buying cars, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So generational sales to me is, I take with pride, and it's an honor to be taking care of the entire family. It's absolutely incredible.
And if you are interested in generational sales and how that's changing, we're doing a show next week on the differences between generations. So if you're interested in learning to adapt to, say, Generation Alpha, Millennial, Gen Z, that's going to be the topic for next Monday's show. So Andrea, I know you haven't been at it as long. What do you think about sort of the long term? Like, what are your thoughts on what you've learned on 12 years of doing this, or whatever, how long it's been?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that just since 2012, it's changed so much. And for me, really being able to make these videos and have more people know who I am has really given me that success, but also people that, like, maybe their parents are buying cars, their kids are somehow finding me, probably because we're all connected there. So I get a lot of like, oh, wow, you sold my family a car last year or whatever. But for me, also, I take it as like serious of taking care of myself for me to be able to do this long term and be successful. And so, the guys I work with, when they know when I walk in the door, I've already been up since 4:30 or 5 a.m. working out. I've already taken care of myself. I'm not trying to order breakfast. So I always talk about like, when I'm here to work, and that you're going to get 100% or more out of me when I walk in the door. A lot of times my managers will have to slow me down and say, hello, I haven't had coffee, like relax, Andrea. So for me, it's a long-term game, and I have been at this for a long time, and I continue to want to do this. So at 40 right now, I feel better than I did in my 20s when I was doing sales. I think that I've evolved, like just knowing what it takes to be in this a long time and be successful and still take care of my son. So for me, it just means a lot to like make sure I feel good to where I can take care of people and problem solve and do all the things. So I just want to be there.
Fantastic. So Jason, I mean, obviously you've been working with salespeople. I mean, what have you learned through dealing with multiple salespeople? What's your thought process?
I found over the years that most salespeople are always trying to optimize for the month, but the top 1% optimize for the decade. They don't look at the sales that they made. They look at the sales that they didn't make. And they look at their CRM as not a dead lead graveyard, but they look at it as a farm. And they want those touches, and they're doing really cool things. Barry Bramham, I'm going to bring him up. He's a great salesperson, but every single time he'd sell a car, he would schedule an email to go out to the son, daughter, wife, spouse, whatever. And it would be something like, hey, Jane, Rare, I sold your vehicle, a vehicle to your dad a couple of years back. Did he pass it on to you yet? Might be time for you to get your own car. It's just little touches like that, but he wouldn't focus on the ones that he'd make. He'd focus on the ones that he didn't make. And it was a repeatable system, and he would just do it over and over and over. And in one sentence, he could describe his process, and the results were what he was getting. He wasn't focused on the touchdowns. He was focused on the yards getting up to the touchdown. And that's what makes a difference.
Interesting. Jonathan, I mean, I know you have a store, but what do you advise salespeople that work for you on the long term? Like what's your thought process there?
So this goes back to one of the core philosophies of psychology that I've been teaching for 2 decades to my clients, which is that you should think in terms of quantitative thinking and qualitative thinking. And those two separate ideas should then permeate or kind of cause every other decision to be categorized by that. Quantitative is what most dealers do naturally or do by habit, which is they look at the quantity of their goals. They look at how many cars we're going to sell, what's our PVR going to be, how many internet leads we're going to have, what's our close ratio going to be, what's our CSI target, right? Everything is measured in just the pure number of it, which is the quantity. The quality question is how you build long-term sustainability, though. The quality question is not just how many cars we're going to sell, but what will be the quality of those deals and the quality of those customers. As an example, for two sides, both the dealer's mindset and the individual salesperson. As a dealer, if I ask the average dealer, do you have a desire to have a higher repeat referral or service conversion opportunity ratio? They all say yes, of course. When I then ask them, because they have, like I said, quantitative thinking, I say, okay, you agree that a referral or a repeat household or a service customer will be a higher quality customer. What was your goal at the beginning of the month? In May, at the beginning of the month, when you set the target goal for units for the month, what was your goal? How many would be relational? What was your target for your referral bucket? What was your target for your relational bucket? And they look at me like I got 3 heads. And so what's interesting is when it comes to things like, the internet department, they know they have a target for an ad spend, they have a target for a conversion rate, they have a target for a lead count, they have a target for all these things of the customer that if it were possible, they'd get rid of in a heartbeat. Like you ask the average dealer, if you could grow sales and spend 0 in advertising, would you do it? They say, of course. So the qualitative piece is to say, okay, well, it's not enough to simply say my goal is to sell 100 cars this month. I want to ask the broader question or the deeper question, which is, of those 100 cars, what will come from repeats? What will come from referrals? What will come from self-generation from the salesperson's efforts? Now, as a salesperson, you should do the same thing on a micro level, which is to your personal goals. It's not enough to say I want to sell 20 cars this month. You have to say, of the 20, how many are going to be for my follow-up? How many are going to be referrals? How many am I going to generate social media or videos? When you can teach them a qualitative mindset and not just a quantitative one, they begin to look at the lifetime value of every customer instead of the initial commission off of every sale. And when you can help them develop this as a belief system, then their activities and their behaviors become consistent with that vision instead of simply trying to catch a bid up, close a good deal, or hopefully catch a good internet lead. And that's what I believe for long-term success has to be from the top down, developed as a mindset for dealerships.
100%. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
We got another question coming in from one of the people on the show.
Yeah.
They're asking the panel, how important are customer testimonials in this overall process?
Urgent. It's if you tell people you're handsome, doesn't mean a damn thing. But if 3 people tell somebody you're handsome, you might be perceived as handsome. I was talking about you, Travis, and now that we're collaborating on the call.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, we talk about something called preference pillars, and these are the drivers of preference in a quite honestly an anonymous world, like where everything looks the same, everybody looks the same. Why choose something over the other? And one of the 5 preference pillars is proof, which is exactly what customer testimonials are. It's not that we say we're great, it's what others say about us that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, years ago they had those photographs on the wall, and I think now it's just so easy to do video. And I know, both Andrea and George are really good at video. Do you do testimonials as well from customers? What do you think, Andrea?
I do and I don't. Sometimes it can get a little awkward, like, hey, Mrs. Jones, like, you had fun, right? Like, oh yeah, it was great. Like, so I don't really do that. I kind of story tell and like, we'll talk about what happened in the story and like this person ordered a car, it's been whatever. And I might throw a little bit in there, but a lot of it is like the storytelling of what happened in the deal. And I definitely post, reviews. And if you Google me or chat GP, like reviews will come up. So they are important and I always make sure I have them, but I don't do a whole lot of the videos with the customers. But I might, who knows?
Yeah. George, you do videos?
I love getting people involved in the fun. I have so many people that say, hey, I want to do a George Sairoglou StouffvilleToyota. I have people selling that all the time and I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. And you see, they want to be involved and interactive that way. And yeah, absolutely. I'm all in. I have no problem doing that. And I enjoy when people want to get involved.
Well, I think that's a great point too. And, like Andrea was saying, it's awkward to stand with a customer and ask them to give feedback. Maybe they feel uncomfortable, but a testimonial or creating proof doesn't necessarily have to come in the form of a person saying, Andrea was great, I recommend Andrea. What George just described, which is just like, it's living proof that this circus that George lives is real. And look, here's somebody from the outside who's part of it, and you can come be part of it too. I think that creates the proof, and that functions as a testimonial. And I think in today's world, it's a more legitimate and easier to believe testimonial because it feels more like a reality show than what did you think? Like a forced testimonial. So I love the way you're doing that, George.
Yeah, I agree. And like the other day, I had this guy that found me all through video, like social media, and he was an auctioneer. So at the end, like I had him teach me how to do it. And, so we did a video together and he kind of threw something in there. So I'll get like a story and like one of my customers, she'll say, oh yeah, I negotiated a cargo net because Andrea taught me that in like one of her videos. So I'll try and like get something funny there, but I'm sure I can take some tips from George and his funny videos.
Fantastic. Jonathan, do you do any video testimonials?
Yeah, we absolutely do. In fact, I appreciate what Andrew's saying about the potential awkwardness. So not only do we do Facebook videos and videos in general, we do what's called a Facebook hijack, which in my opinion is the most valuable type of testimonial you'll ever see. If you think about it as far as like comparing the value of something, if I said, hey, if I go on my timeline and I tell everybody I just sold Andrea a car, that's my timeline, my network knowing I sold another car. If Andrea went on her timeline and told her network that she bought a car from me, that's a completely different value proposition. So the highest value, in my opinion, is if a customer will do a Facebook Live from their timeline at the time of purchase to their entire network, promoting your experience to their entire network on social. That to me is one of the highest value things because it is so hard to get someone to do it. And because it is so awkward, and because the vast majority of people have never done one, they make great videos because they're awkward and clumsy and funny, and they're interesting and they're vulnerable, and people just really love the interaction, and you can get very, very high view count off of that. Now, I have a methodology that I teach both my students and of course my own salespeople how to ask for it and what to say on the video. Due to limitation of time here, I'll show you what to say on the video. And this is a methodology I developed called the Scrooge method. And if you follow the Scrooge method, it makes for a really great video testimonial. In fact, any endorsement can follow the Scrooge method. It's based on the life of Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, most of you remember the story of Christmas Carol, where his life was transformed when he was visited by 3 ghosts. Pop quiz, what were the 3 ghosts? Jason, what was one of the ghosts?
Past.
The ghost of past. Travis, what was the next ghost?
Christmas present.
And then the final ghost was, Larry?
Ghost of Christmas is yet to come. That was the one that looked like the Grim Reaper.
That's right. So past, present, future. When you're doing a testimonial, Andrea, here's what a great video testimonial can easily be done, and you can coach your customer to eliminate some of the stress. I will say to Andrea, I'll say, Andrea, what I'm going to do is I'm going to interview you, and I'm going to use the Scrooge story. The story of Ebenezer Scrooge was he was visited by 3 ghosts. Do you remember what they are? Almost every person remembers all 3 ghosts, past, present, future. Then I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you those questions on the video. I'm going to ask you about your past experiences shopping for a car, what it was like now with me, and in the future, what you tell all your friends to do. Then we launch the video, and that's exactly what I do. I say, hey, everybody, you don't know me, but you do know this lady here. We're on Andrea's timeline. Andrea just did something really fun, and she wants to tell you about her experience. Andrew, before we get into what happened, can you first tell me, before you came to us today, what was that experience like shopping for a car for you? What were your experiences like in the past? And she says, oh, they were stressful, difficult, hard, whatever. She tells the story. I say, and what about today? What was it like working with us and with me in particular? She then elaborates on our experience today. And then you say, and in the future, if any of your friends or family happen to be watching this and you were to give them a recommendation, what would you tell them to do? And they say, of course, come see me over at the dealership. That's the past, present, and future. At which point you then say, hey, can we take a second and show everybody what you got? And now as we're doing this, and if it's a live stream and a public stream, comments will start to come in. Viewers will start to come in. This is where the interaction comes in. I say, hey, Andrea, we have Steve Johnson here. He's saying hi to you. Hi, Steve. Hey, listen, real quick. Andrew just got a nice new car. All I want is in the comments, just put this one answer. If you were to get something next, would it be similar or different? In the comments, drop the word similar or drop the word different. I'm curious. Would you get something similar or different? Andrea, what did you get this time? And I just talk. And I a couple more times tell people who are jumping on the live, hey, please add similar or different so we know what you would get. That becomes then a lead funnel for me to circle back to, create conversations, and open up opportunities.
Fantastic. Well, we're almost out of time, and I forgot to pay the reel, so I'll play it at the end. So I got time for final thoughts. Why don't we start with Mr. Larry Feldman?
Sure. I like Jonathan's idea about leaving little treats and constantly reminding. And Ian, you have got me a lot of business by telling people that I always answer my phone. Make sure it's very easy for people to reach you. Make sure communication is wide open, because I don't care how good the experience is. If they can't reach you, they get frustrated.
Thanks for that. Travis, final thoughts.
You know, I would say this, especially to salespeople: focus less on the outcome of the sale in front of you and focus instead on your input in the process. Focus on the human in front of you. Focus on what their concerns are and how good of a job you do in helping them accomplish their goals, and forget about the outcome of the sale. The outcome of the sale will handle itself if you focus on doing a great job on what you contribute to the process.
Thanks very much. George.
Right on. Again, I'm going to tie on a little bit about what everybody's brought in, but you know, we are an entrepreneur in a business. So you're a business within a business. You treat it like your own. You take every customer, you take every opportunity and take it to passion and take it to heart. And that's a perfect recipe for success.
Thanks very much. Andrea?
Yeah, agree with everyone. Something that if salespeople are listening, in this day and age, I feel like a lot of people are on tight schedules. And so when I do get someone walking in the door, the question I always ask once I welcome in is like, what's important to you? and I'll find out whoever the car is for, look them straight in the eye, and like that right there will tell me what direction I need to go in. And I try and make it as quick as I can, to keep it on process. So that's always my big question I say to everyone. And then also just the video, there's no downside of making videos if you're a salesperson or a dealer. And I'm just, super thankful for it.
Fantastic. Jason.
Be the human in the inbox. Stop trying to be like everyone else. You need to be the human in the inbox. Just imagine it like social media. Your follow-up needs to be the same way. You need to hook them really quick. You need to engage with them. They need to know you're authentic and not AI. You're not fake. That you're personalizing every source of communication. I recently put a post up on my social media, and the first question that I ask is a confusing question, but I get engagement. Then the next one is a video, then a voice drop. I'm not sending an email until later on when I start getting into the nuts and bolts of the situation. What I really want is engagement, and I want to show them that I am a human first and foremost and right out of the gates.
Thanks very much. Jonathan.
I would say if you can reconcile that this is a skills-based business in the sense that you have much more control over your income and over your production, when you adopt a conviction that it's a lot less chance and it's a lot less charisma, it's more about skills. That for example, what you think of as unnatural is really just unhabitual, meaning you don't have a habit of it yet. What salespeople say sometimes, well, I can't say that because that's not natural. And they think that what they really mean is it's not me. But the reality is what you are is a collection of skills. You are a collection of habits. So what feels unnatural, like doing a Facebook Live, I don't know, that's so unnatural. What you mean is you don't have the habit of it yet. If you did it 1,000 times, it would feel as natural as breathing. The reality is you can give yourself the grace to grow through the struggle of developing a new habit and a new skill. If you don't have the traffic you want, you lack skills in prospecting, and you lack skills in networking and promotion. If you have people in front of you, but you can't get to the heart of the matter, you're not able to establish true value and trust, you lack rapport building skills. You're not empathetic enough. You're not focused on them as much as you are about yourself. If you find yourself having ups and downs and lots of ruts, you lack mental skills. You lack the ability to plan your day, to organize your day, to stay focused. These are skill sets that can be learned, and it is not simply someone is luckier than you. It is that they have developed skills you haven't developed. And when you accept that, it's an amazing amount of personal responsibility. And with that comes an amazing amount of freedom. You're no longer a prisoner, and you're no longer a victim of the circumstances you happen to be in.
Thanks very much. Peter.
Hey, I just think this has been a phenomenal show, and I appreciate everybody's time. And it reminds me of a quote that someone once told me. If you want something you've never had, you got to do something you've never done. So I challenge all the people on this show, watching this show today, take one of the suggestions, one of the tips, like Jonathan just said, do something you've never done, try it, and take what these successful people have done and just take one of these tips they've provided and apply it for 30 days and watch what will happen with your sales. I think they'll go through the roof. But again, thanks everybody for being on the show, and look forward to seeing you next week.
How about it?
If you look at the last 4 years again, we've answered 41 million phone calls for dealers over the last 4 years with our AI platform. We've also handled over 150 million text messages. And so when you look at just those raw numbers, that's a 4-to-1, 3.5, 4-to-1 text to phone call. So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. If that is text, voice, video call, if they want to be engaged and engaged instantly.
I'm Vince Delmonico, General Sales Manager with Cruise Ford Lincoln. Larry Feldman came out and did one of our training courses. Absolutely incredible. I sat through the course myself. The engagement that our salespeople gained from it, the excitement that he brings, it was a new way of looking at things that we're already doing and how we can improve them. Love it. It's literally the best thing since sliced bread.
My name's Fareed Ahmed. I'm the founder and CEO of DSMA. So why should you use DSMA to sell your most valuable asset? The answer is very simple. It's our unparalleled approach to our clients' needs and satisfaction. Remember, DSMA, we're real people doing real deals.
Meta, Instagram, social, and your team is still waiting for ups like it's 1999. Let's be honest. Your market isn't watching TV commercials. They're double tapping and engaging with your competitors on social media posts. People are shopping these days for cars and servicing their vehicles in between watching cat videos.
Thank you for helping the industry get better today live. Thank you for helping the industry get better today live.